Hello, everyone, and welcome. Hello, hello. I'm just going to give a couple of seconds for two people in the waiting room to arrive, but welcome, everyone. It's lovely to see you or see you again. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so this is the second year that we do this Decode Your Year with Tarot, and it was really popular last year, really well received, and we thought to do it again this year. So tonight we are going to explore the collective but also individual energies for 2026. I'll explain in detail all the various aspects that we're going to cover, but now is the time if perhaps you want to grab a glass of water or a drink, a notebook, anything that might make you feel more comfortable and at ease. Please feel free to do so now, and we're going to start in a moment. And while you're here, please let me know in the chat what is it that you are going like what are you hoping to get from this evening? Like what are you curious about? What is it that you're most curious about for this evening? And were you here last year? Have you watched the one last year? I'm curious. By the way, what I'm going to do is to share a link when you can also look at the presentation from last year, the slides from last year, so that if you want to just compare notes with the year that just finished and the predictions from last year, you can also do that. Good. Okay, so I feel we're giving people a couple of extra minutes to arrive, so I'm going to get started. And we have a fair amount of things to cover. So I want to dive in and make sure that we have plenty of time to cover all the different aspects of 2026. I'm going to share some slides because there is a lot of information and insights on 2026, and feel free to take screenshots if you would like to. But again, tomorrow, for everyone who has signed up to participate tonight, you will receive a recording and you will also receive a link to the slides. So you can always kind of go back and take notes. All right, so welcome to Decode 2026 with Tara. My intention with tonight is to tap into collective energetic waves and flows and allow you to get a sense for what's coming in 2026. My belief is that we all have free will and agency. So the idea of me doing this forecast is not as much to tell you blow by blow what's going to happen in 2026, but more like take it as a little bit of a weather forecast. Like this is the type of energies or backdrop that perhaps we're going to work with in 2026. And if that sounds amazing, if that's what you are hoping for, excellent. You can kind of double down and allow yourself to fully expand. If it's something that you don't really like, then you have time to put in place strategies and changes and shifts to align to what you are desiring for yourself, for your soul, for your physical body, for your emotions, etc. So, if we haven't met before, hello, my name is Sole. I am one of the tutors at the School of Intuition and Healing. I am the person who created the tarot curriculum at the school from scratch. My experience with tarot goes back now over 3 decades. I started quite young. And in this time, I've read for thousands of people at this point, and I had the pleasure of working with hundreds of students. So tarot is very much a passion of mine. I am also an energy healer, and I've been running my practice is coming up to 11 years now, full time, the spiritual flamingo. So that's part also of my work. So you will see that I will refer not just to the tarot archetypes, but energy in general, and perhaps some more holistic references to our energy and how to tap into the waves of 2026. So for this evening, we're going to take a look at the 2026 Master card. So this is the overarching energy that is going to be with us, is already with us, from the beginning of the year until the very end. And then we're going to look into different energies that are going to play out from January and then transitioning into December. So how are we going to really embody this Master card for 2026. And then I always like to give during these master classes an opportunity for people to connect personally with the messages. So you're going to receive an opportunity to have a more personalized reading that aligns more with where you're at in your life at this moment, perhaps some challenges. So definitely something that you can make yours. And there is someone in the comments saying, I can't believe that a year has passed. Yes, incredible. And yes, it's been a year already. So before we begin, because we are going to receive messages and we want to receive the most accurate messages possible and feel aligned in our energy, I invite you to join me for a very brief grounding visualization and just to get our energy in that beautiful space that is really lovely and grounded and the perfect place to receive high guidance for our highest good and something that really resonates and something that we can act upon. So with that said, I invite you to put your feet on the ground, close your eyes if you wish to do so, and take a moment to just arrive in the physical body. It's the end of the day when we're recording this. Perhaps you had a long day behind you. Just give yourself a moment to arrive in the physical body. And notice how you feel. And try to do this without judgment or expectations. Just notice how you feel, your physical body. And bring your attention to your base chakra, which is located at the base of your spine. And visualize this energy center expanding. And perhaps you might want to visualize it as a red light expanding or a flower unfolding. Just go with what feels most natural to you. And as your base expands, feel this expansion into your hips, into your tights, into your knees, into your legs, and into your feet. And as you bring your attention to your feet, really feel the ground beneath you. And allow yourself to sense grounding energy. Allow yourself to sense the beautiful, calming, supportive energy of Mother Earth. And set the intention to connect downwards towards the center of the earth, as deep as it feels safe and appropriate for you at this time. Allow grounding energy to travel upwards and bring this beautiful wave of nurturing, healing, steady energy into your own vibration, traveling upwards into your feet, legs and knees and thighs, hips, reaching your base. And from your base, visualize this kind and compassionate and steady wave of grounding energy rising not only in your physical body, but into the entirety of your energy, all the way up into your heart center, and then all the way up into your crown. And when you reach your crown, set the intention to open and expand this energy center at the very top of your head. And from there, connect with your higher consciousness, with the highest source of light, with universal energy. Go with what resonates with you, God, Spirit, just the highest vibration of peace and calm and oneness. And allow this vibration to pour into your crown. And from there, flow downwards into your heart space. And feel your energy balance and expand. And really feel that sense of alignment and presence and grounding within yourself. And take a moment to notice the entirety of your energy above and below you, at the front, at the back, right and left side. And now that you feel expanded, steady and supported in your energy, if you feel that perhaps there is something that is old or doesn't belong to you, or is simply ready to be released, then visualize it making its way towards the edges of your aura, all the way to the boundaries and edges of your aura, and then further out until when it's outside of your auric field, and set the intention that this old energy is safely released and transmuted. And now that we feel centered and grounded, and our energy is clear, visualize a protective bubble of light all around you, above and below you, at the front, at the back, right and left side. And fill this bubble of light with any color, any protective, safe color that intuitively comes to you. And just go with what naturally comes. Follow your intuition and guidance. Center yourself in your heart and quietly affirm, I'm grounded, I'm clear, I'm protected. And when you're ready, allow the wisdom of your body to bring you back into the physical space around you and into this joint virtual space. And we're ready to start. Okay, so before we begin, the tarot, a traditional tarot deck has 78 cards, and there isn't such thing as a good or bad card. All cards have light and shadows, and all cards can be positive or negative depending on what is your situation, your desires, your desired outcomes, etc., etc. So it's always important when we receive these messages to put ourselves into the driving seat rather than just receiving the messages from a passive perspective or point of view. And granted, some cards look a little bit more charming than others. Certainly, if you're familiar with the tarot, you will know that there are certain cards that don't look quite as friendly, but I guarantee you there isn't such a thing as a bad or a good card. So these are the energies for 2026. We are going to start with this kind of pyramid structure. The first card that we're going to tap into is the 2026 Master card. So this is the card, as I said earlier, that represents the overall energy for the year. And then we're going to go one level down into the energy flow. So the themes and energies that you're going to tap into more like as a flow, as imagine it as almost like, if the Master card is the one track for the year, then these two cards are like the rest of the playlist. What else can we go into? What other information can we go to? And I've laid this out as a transition from the beginning until the end of the year, and then supportive energies is your more personalized readings that we're going to do later on. By the way, if you're intuitive or if you're already kind of feeling pulled towards one of the cards, what I always do in my presentation, I always have the image of the card behind the little green rectangular shape. So although you can't see the cards, the energy of the card is behind that. So I'm going to unveil them, but perhaps you can already feel into them. So the top 3 cards are being selected via calculation using some numerology. And this is a very easy, straightforward way that you can calculate the MasterCard for a year, and then the flow cards from January, so from the 1st of January, and then until the end of the year, so the 31st of December. So this is how the cards are being calculated at the top if you're interested in a little bit of the behind the scenes, or perhaps you want to do this calculation yourself in the future. And then the bottom part I have selected intuitively. When I do this, I connect with the group consciousness of all the people that are here tonight, and also the group consciousness of everyone who is going to watch the recording. And then I connect with the higher self of everyone who is involved. And for the highest good of everyone involved, I ask that we receive relevant and supportive messages. And the kind of intention that I set or question is, what supportive energy can I invite in? Okay, I'll explain later how you can pick your card. Right, but let's start with our first card. So the Master card for 2026 is the Wheel of Fortune. You have a smaller image here, and I'm going to hold one here as well. And then, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to talk you through things, but I know that a lot of people like to see things written down and have that reference point. So I've done that as well for you as just a reference point. So the energy of 2026, from a collective perspective, the Wheel of Fortune is a card of change. Now, you could argue that all 78 cards in the tarot deck are cards that hold changes in archetypes, changes of speed, changes of perspective, but the Wheel of Fortune is definitely a card that has baked into its energy a very strong energy of changes and shifts. Now, not all change is the same. The change that comes with the Wheel of Fortune is change that comes at a pace that cannot be stopped or sped up. So it would be, for example, the change of the season. It would be the change that we experience as we naturally age. It's change that somehow is natural, inevitable, that has its own rhythm, and that it's a change that affects people as groups or in an environment rather than affecting one individual only. So with this card, we can expect that even more so than in previous years, we will find this energy being felt by more than one person, being felt collectively. And collectively can mean on a global and wider stage, or can be collectively in your community, in your family, in your relationships, in the groups that you're part of. Now, the energy of the Wheel of Fortune is an energy that has to do with cycles, opening and closing. It has to do with an energy of perhaps tapping into things that you haven't been tapping in for some time and reconnecting with them, but also finally seeing the end of certain chapters. So this is, if I go back to the reference to the seasons, this is finally when we dropped those leaves that have been hanging on a branch for a little bit too long, and a new season comes in. Maybe spring comes out again. And because there is this cyclical nature to the card, what you might find is the stuff that has been kept in a box for some time, maybe friendships, relationships, job opportunities, hobbies, personal desires, that have been kind of on a shelf for quite some time. And this can be like as long as a decade, like it can be a very long time with the Wheel of Fortune, not necessarily 6 months ago. It's stuff that might come back into the cycle of your life. Some stuff comes to a close, some new stuff comes in, some old stuff gets a bit of a revival, comes back in. This cyclical nature of the energy has also a bit of a sense of what comes around goes around. So this is a great card for us to reflect on and tap into if we want to clear ancestral patterns, personal energetic patterns, past life patterns. It's really a moment to look at those things that have been cyclically happening for us over and over again, and how can we change the course for ourselves. So it's a beautiful year to clear the slate, but I would also say because of that cyclical element, let's be kind of careful that the stuff that emerges as the wheel goes around is stuff that is still relevant for us, stuff that we still want to keep with us, that is beneficial, that is aligned with who we are right now. And finally, with the Wheel of Fortune, I don't know if this maybe looks a little bit like a roulette to you. There is sometimes an energy of taking a chance and gambling. So this can, as I said, not necessarily positive, not necessarily negative. There might be a sense of you feeling that you might want to take a few more risks that you would typically take. But also maybe people are going to take a chance on you, giving you opportunities that they wouldn't have given you last year. But if we look at the shadow side of things, we want to make sure that we don't fall into any maybe gambling energy when we take too many risks without being fully aware of the rewards or fully aware of what the consequences could be. So, as this is a general point around the card, a couple of themes that I have pulled out on the slide. So, as I said, it's a card that will, in its seasonal element and in its natural progression, is a card that will impact quite a few people. So I think it's important to reflect on collective shifts and global energies. So it's a card of movement and change. And I think if we are reading the news, we've probably seen already that there is a lot of change in the world happening at the moment. And very new, unexpected directions might emerge at speed. Like those wheels might speed up quite quickly for us. It's a time where if you want to really harness the energy of the card, it's important not to be in a space of resisting change. It's almost like you can't really resist winter. You might not be a fan, but you can't resist winter. You might as well prepare for winter, stock up on wood, get a nice thick jumper that you can wear, etc. And it's really important for us this year to learn to work with momentum. So learning to work with shift and changes. So anything around embracing adaptability, trusting in timing, whether we feel it's taking a little bit too long or maybe no, it's happening very quickly, is very important. And really being willing to take some bold choices, to make some more bold choice than you would normally. Maybe a few calculated risks. So challenges with this might be unexpected opportunities, sudden shifts, and it's really an invitation to release control and be very adaptable and respond wisely to what unfolds in front of you. From a personal perspective, this is a card, if you are, especially like if you're someone who is turning 40, 50, 60, 70 this year, this is such a great year to really align to the new decade. I'm not turning any of those things, but definitely I am really harnessing an opportunity to open up a new chapter for me personally, and I invite you to do this. This is a brilliant time to redefine who you are. Release old identities. Really ask yourself, this thing that I always say about myself, is it true? Do I still like it? Is it still me? And this applies to relationships, to habits, to day-to-day life choices. And so this is not only around trust and surrender, but it's also conscious choice. So when things come full circle, this is a fantastic opportunity for us to reflect on what is still relevant, what is it that is still serving me. For this reason, this is an incredible year for soul level growth. I don't really like the entire karmic type of concept and theme, but if you feel that there are energetic contracts, cords, binds, agreements, any unfinished business, ancestral patterns that you want to bring to a closure, new opportunities that you want to open. This is exactly the right time and the right overarching energy to do that. It is definitely a year where the ones amongst ourselves that are less patient will need to reshape our relationship with timing and trust into divine timing. And I say here destiny, whether you believe in destiny or not, but this sense of the path ahead and the journey that is unfolding for you going forward. Now, what are the opportunities for you in this environment? Definitely invest in flexibility. This is the year to be flexible and nimble and able to move from one thing to another. Courage, build emotional resilience and emotional intelligence and energetic resilience to be able to hold the vibration of courage. So anything that is about responding to change is definitely going to be an opportunity for you this year. This year is also, because there are so many shifts, and some of them might come a little bit more subtly than others, and some of them will come really quickly. It's really important for you to double down on trusting your instinct. So if you've been thinking about sitting in meditation more regularly, doing an intuitive course, starting tapping into your higher self more regularly, that's definitely a great time for us to do that. And this is the way I was talking with a friend about this a couple of days ago, and I said something along the lines of 2026 is the year that we will look back to in 10 years from now. So really allow your choices to set new cycles in motions, which is really powerful and empowering, but obviously you also want to do that from a place of clarity and alignment. So this is our overall energy for 2026. And perhaps you can let me know in the comments if there is something that is already showing up for you. If things have been breaking or changing or shifting for you already in this first couple of weeks of the year, if you've been feeling that sense of old chapters closing and new chapters opening. Let me know if you started feeling it already. Now, as we go one level deeper, we're tapping into two other major arcana. So energies that we can work with from an archetypal perspective. So at the beginning of the year, I would like you to picture this. If you're a visual person like me, picture this almost like a gradient, then goes from the beginning of the year into the end of the year. And picture this like two colors that go from 100% saturation of white, for example, into black, merges into like a gray, and then goes into the second color. So visualize this almost as a gradient. The closer we get to the midpoint of the year, the more mixed and intermingling these two energies are going to be. And then we transition into the second card, the second color, if you will, in my analogy of the gradient. So we're starting off with the Hanged Man, and then we're transitioning into the Star. So we're now obviously very much into the Hanged Man energy, and I'm going to explain what that means for us. Then we will transition in a blend and then end our year into the Star. And by the way, thankfully, thank all the angels and guides and spirit, etc. This year is going to have a very different ending than 2025. The ending of 2025 was under the influence of the Tower as a card. So if you had a challenging end to 2025, if loads of things just went up in flame, either physically or metaphorically, hopefully the end of 2026 is going to be a lot smoother and more gentle. And let's hope. That's the intention, at least from the cards. So starting from the Hanged Man, and again, I have a little picture there, but I also have here a picture of a larger card, I should say. The Hanged Man is a card that really invites us to slow down and release control. So, this is a theme that is very much resonating with the Wheel of Fortune, the release of control, the trusting, the timing. But also, as you will have noticed, the Hanged Man is upside down and yet is quite comfortable in this position. This is to me very often the position of people that are very skilled at yoga and like uncomfortable yoga positions, perhaps even headstands. And although it's something that requires a certain physical strain, they lean into that discomfort, and it is part of the practice to become at peace with that discomfort and finding new ways of being in your body and your energy. And very much the Hanged Man is about that, looking at things from a different perspective, quite literally, seeing things upside down. And so this is a great time to ask ourselves, what if? What if I did this? What if I saw this from a different perspective? What if I took one day a week off to do this thing, this project? So it is an energy of surrender. Certainly, it's not an energy of motion. There isn't a lot of motion that comes with the Hanged Man. So the first part of 2026, we kind of get carried by the energy of the Wheel of Fortune, and we use that as a time to reflect with the Hanged Man. So there is surrender, there is reflection, there is letting go. But it is really a deep inquiry. And it's always important for the first 6 months of the year to use the card that we are tapping into as almost like a foundational card for the rest of the year. It's almost like if we do the homework right, the first energetic and spiritual homework right, for the first 6 months of the year, then we can really tap into that sense of healing and completion that will come this year with the star. So a great time to pause and shift. So whatever you've been reading on Instagram, whatever, top 10, things to do in January, change your habits, join the gym, vision boarding, change everything fast. Really go deeper into that process, not just the masculine goal-oriented energy, but really go one level deeper. What do you need? What do you need to pause? What do you need to shift within your energy? And this is something, I should probably write this on a post-it note on my wall. Embrace patience as a form of wisdom. And if you are in the impatient action camp, like me, this might not be completely natural to you, but it's a really great time to own that skill. And if you're someone who is not very action-led and you're quite happy not doing much, please use this time not just not to do anything, but to go deeper into the wisdom of patience. So this is again upside down. Let's kind of turn upside down on the head relationships, career paths, personal habits, and really look into different perspectives. Bring the unknown into the known. So what you know and do everywhere, bring the unknown, a different perspective into that. And now as we transition, so we are towards the middle of the year, the two cards, the two energies are intermingling with each other. How do we move through the year, basically? So let's say from May until September, what are we going to experience? How are we going to transition from one energy to the other? So as the year progresses, all the good patient work that we've done with the Hanged Man, allowing ourselves to reflect, allowing ourselves to gain wisdom from patience, and allowing ourselves to look at things from different perspectives, we're really kind of creating fertile soil for more strategic action, more big picture thinking. So this transition is an energy of very conscious evolution. Like we've been feeling into the energy, we've been reflecting into things, we've been turning things upside down. This is the time between May and September where we might start getting some, I now understand why I'm not doing things in the same way, or this doesn't suit me anymore. So we go into a space where intuitive guidance will start coming in and really point you towards opportunities, even more so than the first part of the year. And as we transition into the second part of the year, now, as I said, there are no cards that are only positive or only negative, but certainly in terms of cards that carry a beautiful, nurturing energy, the star is one of them. So with the energy of the star, we step into hope and healing and renewal. It is a card definitely of optimism, or clarity, or reconnection to your purpose. So finally, you clear the decks. The Wheel of Fortune has brought in a new cycle. Perhaps you've done some work in clearing energetic patterns, and you can fully step into that sense of alignment and alignment and confidence into your next chapter. Now, with the star, we want to really do that homework that I was talking about with the Hanged Man, that deep wisdom, because the star otherwise can be a little bit airy-fairy, can be a little bit pie in the sky, can be that wish upon a star that is like, looks lovely, but never actually happens. So it's really important that we ground ourselves in the first 6 months of the year to look at things from a very radical perspective. If you're a creative person, if you're an unusual thinker, if you're someone who is absolutely bored to death with things, if you're an innovator, if you feel the need for something new and different, this year is perfect for you. It's a year of renewal. It's a year of shaking off the old, and it's a year that, if done in alignment with this macro energy, can really bring change in a way that is sustainable, doesn't feel violent, doesn't feel intrusive, doesn't feel too personal or too aggressive. It feels just a courageous alignment of your outer world with your inner world and with your upper world and upper consciousness, higher consciousness. Okay? Let me know if you started feeling a little bit of the Hanged Man energy as well. As we take a little breath in and out, I'll also check in the chat. So already a couple of people are feeling the shift already. Great. I always find that like people that are spiritual or attuned with energies, sometimes we even start feeling changes before they even happen. Like there is something in the air, there's something in the water. We can feel it, we can smell it, we can taste it. It shows up in our relationships, it shows up into our meditations, it shows up sometimes in conflict. I think conflict gets such a bad reputation, but sometimes when there is friction and conflict in our life, is such a great shortcut for us to understand what's out of alignment and what we need to expand and work on. Lovely. It is a very exciting time. I am excited about 2026. I hope these cards are going to remain aligned for us. Definitely there is a lot happening on the big international stage on different levels, but I think for us, for as individuals, there is really an opportunity for growth, especially for us. I'm just assuming everyone here is a particularly spiritual person or aspiring to be. So I think there is a lot of really lovely work that we can do for our inner growth and spiritual growth this year. But hopefully practical as well. I'm a very practical person, so I always like to bring that growth into the physical. Okay. So speaking of things that we can do to help and support ourselves, remember at the beginning I said the top 3 cards are cards that I work out using some numerology, and I'm tapping into the major arcana, so big archetypes in the tarot, bigger shifts, bigger energies, I suppose, that we're working with at the moment. The second row or the bottom row, I should say, is there are cards that I have intuitively selected for you. So the question and intention that I always set is that the guidance is one, aligned with your highest good, in accordance to your highest good. Whether you know about your highest good or not, whether it aligns with your desires or not, that's a different question, but it is for your highest good. And I always ask that guidance is relevant and actionable. So what you are receiving today is something that maybe will become clearer with time, but my hope and intention and desire is that what you receive today is something that you can resonate with right now and start working with right now, even if it's just one small step that you can take tomorrow. So, with all of that said, at the beginning, I mentioned to you that as I do these slides, already behind the layer, the green rectangular shape, I have hidden that picture of the card. So I ask you to take one moment, reground yourself if you need to. You might want to center in your heart again, and then ask yourself, what supportive energy can I invite in to help and support me in 2026? And really feel into card 1, card 2, card 3, or card 4. And just see which one is kind of pulling you in, like which one is resonating with you. And just feel into what comes to you intuitively. And once you have a sense for whether it's card 1, 2, 3, or 4, let me know in the chat which one. I'm always interested in knowing. We have a card 3, 3, some 1s, some 2s, 3. Anyone for 4? Yes, Sandra says 1, 4. Anybody else? 2 more 1s, 3. A good mix. I think maybe there are 4 fewer people, but we have a good mix, I think. Lovely. I haven't unveiled the cards yet, so you're just going with your intuition. I will let you know what's under card 4 in a second. Okay, lovely. So let's take a look at these cards. I have unveiled all of them and I will go into individual messages for all of them. So please don't change your card now because you're seeing one that you like more. Stick with what your intuition guided you towards. So the first card that we have is the 7 of Pentacles. The second, sorry, that was the first. The second card that we have is the 8 of Cups. The third card is the Ace of Swords. And the fourth card is the Queen of Swords. So this would be your own individual guidance for the entire year. The cards that I've used are minors. So for those of you who don't know the tarot that well or at all, minor arcana are beautiful energies to work with more on a day-to-day level. So these cards are going to be great to take all of these beautiful big picture energies that we covered with the Wheel of Fortune, the Hangman, and the Star, and making it yours, obviously, because you chose one. So you will be in a certain group, but also making it quite grounded and practical and actionable. And something that you can really refer back for problem solving or like practical next steps, that sort of thing. Okay, let's start with the 7 of Pentacles. So this is a beautiful card of reflection, but also a card for really harnessing all your hard work so far. This is a great time to take stock of your progress and evaluate what's working and what isn't, which is a theme that is very aligned with what we've seen with the Hanged Man and to a certain extent to the Wheel of Fortune as well. But it's really here with the Pentacles being connected with the element of earth and anything that is very practical. This is really an invitation to reflect and assess anything that is connected with abundance, practicalities, finances. This is a great time to think, am I making the right contributions to my pension, for example? Am I investing my money wisely? Do I need to check my overheads for my house bills, for example? So it's a time to really reflect and assess very practical matters, especially if they're connected with the home, with finances, with abundance, with anything that is even the home family related, not just the structure of the home. If you're thinking, oh, maybe 2026 is a time where I should do some work on the house, maybe I need to freshen up and do some DIY projects, this is a great time to really reflect on, wait a second, do I want to redo my garden, or do I want to, I don't know, redo my windows, or am I going to move soon? And there is no point in investing money into their home that way. So from a very, very practical perspective, anything financial, abundance related, home related, definitely reflect on things, on what you've done so far. Give yourself a little pat on the shoulder if you've done well and for your hard work, but also assess what's next. Once again, we go back to a theme of patience. So this is a card. If you have assessed the journey so far, and if you think, actually, yes, I have done a good job, and there are a couple of things that I want to tweak, but I feel like I'm on the right path. This is a card of allowing time to do its work. So really allowing yourself to trust that the seeds that you have planted are growing. And sometimes they're growing under the surface and you might not be as clear on whether the plant is growing or not, but it's trusting the process. Invest with intention. So really think about long-term benefits. This card and Pentacles in general, especially under the influence of the Wheel of Fortune, you are called to take decisions that are good for the long term. So this is not the time to invest your finances or invest your time and energy without really reflecting and thinking, how is this going to pan out long term? It looks good right now, but how is it going to pan out long term? That's the question that you want to ask yourself. Any type of investment, financial, energy, time, etc. Really ask yourself, how is this going to work for me long term? And also celebrate small wins. The Seven of Pentacles is a card definitely of hard work and labor. So if you're someone like me who is quite guilty not to be that good at celebrating small wins, I always want the big wins, the big shiny wins. But this is a great time to start practices like gratitude practices or journaling or checking in with yourself at the end of the week and see all of the things that you have achieved. And some weeks, maybe your biggest achievement is that you managed to make yourself dinner every single evening rather than order takeaway. And that's also an achievement. We don't need to run marathons or, being awarded big prizes every week. Sometimes the win is something a little bit smaller. So if you selected card number 1, Seven of Pentacles, this is the guidance for you. And again, if you selected the Seven of Pentacles, let me know if already that's like resonating with you with some of the work that you're doing or some of the intentions that you set for yourself. If you selected the Eight of Cups, the energy of the Eight of Cups is an energy that really encourages us to step away from what no longer serves us. But with cups being connected with water, we are here very often, we are in the realm here of things that are either emotionally charged, emotionally draining, or the realm of relationships. So this card and that audit type of energy, reflection energy that we are receiving from the Hanged Man with the Eight of Cups, in conjunction with the Eight of Cups, I would zoom in, with the Seven of Pentacles, we said really audit things that are like practical and finance and home related. With the Eight of Cups, the auditing and reflection is more in the space of our inner realms. So it's relationships, it's feelings, emotions, even our intuition and spiritual work. So if there is anything, particularly in relationships, not just romantic relationships, can be family, can be work related, can be with clients, if you are practitioners, if you have clients, if there is anything that feels either very draining or stagnant, this is a card that really invites you to assess that side of things, and be quite bold in moving away. Like use the momentum of the Wheel of Fortune to spring, like leap ahead energetically and physically and practically into the next chapter. Definitely, this is also a card for those of you who feel that it's time for you to leave behind worries and concerns and the old and go back into a space of newness and alignment with yourself. And this is also a time where you might find that you have overgrown some friendships and the environment and communities around you, and it's definitely a time where embracing that emotional growth is going to be so important for you. So this is the year for you. You might want to invest in therapy. You might want to invest in tapping into different circles and communities. You might want to be doing more deeper inner work. It is something, it is really all about moving on and forward from things that have been perhaps a little bit too heavy on your shoulders emotionally. So the big focus for you in 2026 is clearing, assessing, and moving away from things, especially at an emotional level. Okay. So again, if the Eight of Cups was your card, let me know if perhaps you already have some plans around this topic. Now, completely different energy, we step into the Ace of Swords. Now, if you chose card number 3, I think quite a few of you chose card number 3. 2026 is going to be like a quest for clarity and truth. It's going to be all about the throat chakra. It's going to be all about leadership for you. It's going to be a year probably where you're going to use the patience and wisdom of the hanged man to then articulate very clearly what you are willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. So this is the year to become bolder in your confidence, in your communication. This is the year where maybe you think, yes, I'm going to take that public speaking training. Yes, I'm going to be bolder in my emails. I'm not just going to be all nicey nice and please and thank you. I'm just going to ask for what I need and what I deserve. This is a year where, if you're looking for maybe a promotion or if you want to renegotiate chores and responsibilities around the house, this is a year where you can really make very decisive moves and really be aligned with your intuition and wisdom that you gather from the Hanged Man, especially in the first 6 months of the year, to have some great mental breakthroughs. It is the year of big mindset work for you. It's the year of working on your belief system. It's the year for you to work on changing how you problem solve things and really shifting your energy towards being more strategic, being more focused in your decisions. So here the Ace of Swords will allow us to, cut the old and see how it's interesting to see how the overall energy of change then becomes more specific. We had finances and practical things and home with the first card. If you chose the second, was more about relationships and emotionally draining situations in your life. And now that we are with the Ace of Swords, is more about leadership and communication and assertiveness as well. So the pathway to support the change is different depending on the card that you have selected. So this is for the Ace of Swords. So there is a question that says, do we each have a little bit of each with emphasis of our card? You would be under the influence of the three main cards of the year. So the Wheel of Fortune, the Hanged Man, and the Star. So those three cards would be for all of us. But then out of the four that were at the bottom of the pyramid, it would be the one that you have selected for yourself, the one that resonates with you. So finally, for those of you who have chose card number 4, the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords, we're still in the realm of the swords, but very different energy from the Ace of Swords. This is about really balancing your intellect and intuition, your inner wisdom, your inner clarity, and really bringing this alignment in a space of inner power and stand into your inner power. For those of you who have one foot into the corporate world and one foot into the spiritual closet, this is a great year if you pick the Queen of Swords to bring those two areas together. If perhaps you haven't come out to your family as an energy healer, an intuitive, a tarot reader, if maybe your colleagues at work don't know that you also do spiritual work or that you're a very spiritual person, this is really a year where the reflection and the invitation from this card is standing into your personal power and harnessing the power of the swords, not just as clear intellect and structure and communication, but also inner intuition and wisdom and that magical aspect of the suit, that clarity that comes from higher consciousness. It is also a card of leadership to a certain extent, similar in some way to the Ace of Swords, but here is leadership that is more embodied. So perhaps this is further down the line than those of you who have selected the Ace. So if you selected card number 3, perhaps you're a little bit earlier on in your leadership and clarity and assertiveness journey, where the Queen of Swords is at a point where we are really ready to fully embody that. So it might be, especially for those of you, as I said earlier, if you're turning 40, 50, 60, 70s, it might be the year when you finally say, you know what, I am this person now. I'm not going to change. I'm quite happy with the person I am. And I'm quite satisfied with like entering this new decade fully aligned and grounded and present into my energy. So once again, with swords, there is an invitation of being honest and speaking your truth. And where with the Ace of Swords that we saw earlier, there was an invitation of being super direct. With the Queen of Swords, there is more of an invitation to also use your maturity and your intuition, and to a certain extent, even your empathy, to speak your truth with kindness as well as authority. But this is a great year for not only coming out of the spiritual closet, but also to step into leadership roles. So if you've been waiting to step into something a little bit bolder and bigger, this is definitely a great year for you to look into options that you have. Especially if it's something that like is about communication or intuition or, you know, the throat and above in terms of energy. Okay. I'm curious to know, based on the card that you picked, let me stop this for a second before we go back in. How is this feeling? And if you were around, if you were around last year, is this feeling like a slightly more gentle 2026 than it was for the energy of 2025? Let me know what's resonating with you from these energies so far. And does it make sense? Let me know if anyone also has any questions. All aligns with spirit guidance. Yes, I hope so. Does anybody have any questions on this? Or any reflections? As any of these cards is, it all seems so integrated. Yeah, that's my hope. That's definitely my hope. Is there anyone that's seen the cards is like, I'm not feeling it yet. I'm not there yet. Not for me. It's not landing for me. The Eight of Cups makes so much sense for me. Really accurate. Good. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear. Totally makes sense. Thank you. You're so welcome. Okay. Before I move on, are there any questions? Yes, it all makes sense. Lovely. Not feeling this. Yeah, let me know what's not resonating. I'm always interested in what's resonating and what isn't resonating. Okay. So, I'm feeling the hangman. Thank you. So beautifully described. I'm glad. Right. So I always find that very often when we receive guidance, we look at the things that you should be doing, what's like aligned, etc. But I also always like in all my readings and all my forecast of energy to look at things that we shouldn't be look at. So things that are either missing from the energies or things that are like maybe not quite as relevant for us at this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you back into the overall picture of things so that we can really reflect on another layer of guidance. So first of all, at the top of our pyramid, we have major arcanas, and you don't need to be an expert in tarot to understand this or resonates with this. But the major arcanas are also called the Fool's Journey. So this is our development as a soul that incarnates, and this soul goes through different cycles. And the cycles are our embodiment. We figure out who we are here, masculine and feminine energies, the archetypes of the mother and the father, the network around us, how do we move through the world, and that's the beginning of our journey. And then as we figure that out, we kind of turn inwards. We figure out our inner landscapes, we figure out our emotional compass, our ethics, our morals, how do we see the world, and how do we interact with the world based on what is important to us. And then the final part of this journey is all about the bigger picture, our spiritual self, almost like coming back to where we came from with much bigger understanding and perspective on things. So the cards that we have in front of us are all from the second and third part of that full journey. What does it mean in practical terms? That this year is a year to really focus on your inner compass, your morals, your values, things that really keep you steady and aligned within yourself, emotionally, mentally, and even physically. So I think as spiritual people, we always think about reincarnation and the soul journey, but think about your physical body as well. So this is a great year to reflect on what is it that agrees with me. Like I always read these articles that you should be doing this and you should be sleeping 4 hours a night and then wake up at 5 a.m. and do exercise. Does that work for me? I'm reading this thing that is good to eat this much proteins. Does this work for me? Etc. etc. So really align with your body and what you need, your inner compass, going deeper within yourself. And then the star is quite an advanced card in the full journey. So we are very much into the realm of aligning our deeper inner realms with the bigger spiritual picture. This is what 2026 is about. Will there be change? Absolutely, with the wheel of fortune. But is it going to be change that is only, oh, I'm going to work towards a promotion, I'm going to buy or sell a house? Absolutely not. There's going to be a much deeper layer to that and a much more long-term impact. So let's make sure that it really aligns with our deeper energetic and spiritual compass within ourselves. And then if you look at the cards at the bottom, we have one pentacle, one cup card, and two swords. This means that what we're missing is wands. Wands is the element of fire. So one area where this year you might feel that maybe you had enough conflict, enough movement, enough short temper that you had to deal with in 2025, and you might be quite happy to see that there is very little fire energy in our 2026 cards, but you might also find that you might need a little bit extra fuel in the tank to get things started. So we are in this beautiful reflective energy. We are dreaming big, we are closing circles, we're clearing patterns. All of that is fantastic. But because we don't have a huge amount of that fiery, practical energy, and there is a lot of inner, deeper reflection, you might find that one place to put extra intentional time and energy is getting that spark to get things like shifting, even from a day-to-day basis. So you might find yourself quite happy to journal and reflect and have deep philosophical conversations with people. But then when it comes to making dinner in the evening, you don't feel quite as inspired. So that lack of fire might be something that we need to more actively nurture and bring into our energy for 2026. Okay. There is a question that says, which time period, month do the hangman and star govern their energy? So for the hangman, as I said, we start from the beginning of the year, and then it kind of goes into a mix and gradient in the middle of the year, and then it goes into the star. So I would say the first 5 months roughly of the year are going to be governed by the hanged man, then blending, let's say from May until September, into the energy of the two together, hanged man and the star, and then transitioning into the star. So from, let's say, September or late August into December. Yes, last year we worked with the Hermit. That was the master card for 2025. And the beginning card was Justice, and the end card was the Tower, which is definitely a more difficult energy to work with. Okay. Yeah, and it might have felt that like 2026, 2025 was a year where there was like a lot of obstacles and things like, oh, I feel like I pulled all of this together and it's now working, and then suddenly it comes apart, especially the second part of the year. Yeah. I would always very much suggest, especially for readings that have very deep reflective elements. Like, for example, we have all of this change that is heralded by the Wheel of Fortune, but then we also have patience from and change of perspective from the Hanged Man, that you screenshot this, take a few notes, and then get back to that in like a couple of weeks and see how things are progressing and landing for you. Okay, so I'll take any other questions if you have any others before I finish. But just the final thing that I wanted to say is, if as I said, I'll take more questions at the end if you want to. But if you've been feeling like excited about tapping into the energy of tarot, and perhaps you want to start doing your own readings, we still have a few, very few spots available for Foundations in Tarot that starts next week. The course is hugely popular. We have a fantastic group of people this year from literally all over the world, which I'm super excited about. But if you are like the super last minute person, if the Wheel of Fortune has just started spinning for you and you want to join us, you're still on time to do that. I think the school is going to take only sign-ups for maybe another day or two, because we are really about to start. And these are some of the things that we cover in the course. So all sorts of things, from really understanding the structure of the of the tarot, the different suits, learning about the major arcanas, and doing readings, of course, for yourself and others. This course has been such a joy to host and hold, and there are so many friendships and deeper connections that also are born of the course, which is always a great benefit and bonus, not just learning about a new magical tool, but also connection and community. And if the time is not right for you, we run this course kind of once a year, around this time of the year. So maybe something that will come into your energy with the next turn of the Wheel of Fortune. Here are all my contact details if you would like to give me a follow on Instagram, or just you have any questions. I'm going to stop sharing and leave in the chat link to the course if there are like any last minute, super last minute people that want to grab. I don't know, there's probably 1 or 2 spots left. I'm not sure how many, but not that many. If you would like to still join us. And I'm going to take a moment to, Candice, if you would like to join the course, I would suggest grab the link and join soon, because we're kind of almost fully booked and we're starting super soon. Thanks, Claudia. It's been a pleasure having you with us in the course. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much, everyone. Any other questions before we go tonight? I'm so glad, Sandra. Excellent. Such a great question. Do we lack the fire energy even in the year of the fire horse? I love that question. I'm going to answer in a second. That's brilliant. So obviously there are a lot of different systems that you might or might not resonate with. Obviously there is an astrological aspect, there is a Chinese astrology aspect, and we are about in February, we're about to shake off the energy of the snake and to go into the energy of the fire horse. Definitely the energy of the fire horse resonate with the tarot cards when it comes to forward movement. And so indirectly there is a resonance there. It's more what I was mentioning about personal action. So personal action points and those 4 cards at the bottom, that is like, it might not be something that comes naturally to the fore, it's something that you need to look for. Oh, you're a fire horse and you're 60 here. Enjoy, Katie. Lovely. Okay. So, thank you so much, everyone, for being here with me tonight. You get a link to the presentation. You can always ping a message on Instagram or on my email just to ask any questions or just to let me know what resonated with you. And you also get a link to all the slides from last year. So if you want to do a little bit of a post-mortem and dissect your 2025 and see whether things resonated with you or not, that's a good time of the year to also do that. If you're super last minute wanting to join us for the tarot course, you're still welcome to do so. But as I said, we're starting on Tuesday next week and we probably have, I don't know, a couple of spots left. So now is the time. Thank you so much for being here. Take just one moment before you go to set the intention to disconnect all the codes that we have and energetic connections that we have created this evening. So set the intention that just you're cleansed and clear, come back into your own energy, give back, take back what's yours and give back what isn't. And just make sure that you're nicely present and grounded into your own vibration. Reaffirm your grounding and reaffirm your protection. And I wish you all a beautiful 2026. Whether it's expected or unexpected, I hope it brings you joy and adventure and alignment, and that it's a beautiful year of growth and expansion for you. Thank you very much, everyone, and I'll see you all very soon. Take care. Bye.